What is up, everyone? Welcome back here to another Rise of Kingdoms content. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 epic commanders that are usable in the canyon. Today, when we look into the canyons, a lot of things have changed. Back then, you are still going to see some epic commanders in the lineups in here. As you can see, now we don't even see any more epic lineups onto the top ranks of today. A lot of things have changed. So if you are in the Season of Conquest in the later stage of the game, you may want to consider not using epics. But we're still going to talk about epics because it is still going to be very helpful. Because if you are in the early season, let's say preseason, and then season 1, season 2, maybe season 3, after that, maybe at that point, you're not going to see a lot of epics anymore. So today we're going to talk about what epic commanders you can actually use in the game. Now, as you can see, I don't really use epics anymore because we are in a stage where we are far into the game. That's why I'm not using any epics. We have to survive here with our legendary. So my biggest advice here in the game is that you're going to be working onto your epics, but eventually you're slowly going to work on legendary and you're going to replace those epic with your legendary. But the thing here is that the foundation is very, very important. I'm going to be giving you my top 5 that I think is useful in the canyon, and you guys can decide what you guys think about it. But I would really recommend and challenge you guys in here to share. As I share my top 5, is that you guys share your top 5 as well. It can be different. It's okay. Everybody have their own little strategy. Maybe some of the heroes or some of the commanders that I talk about, we're going to be similar. Now, the first one that I'm going to talk about here is Joan of Arc. Now, if you've seen my previous video about the top 5 epics, I did not put Joan of Arc in that category. I think I put Joan of Arc in the more of an honorable mention in there because Joan of Arc is great, but I don't really think she is all that great when you bring it to the field. Like, her ability in the canyons work well because she can directly buff your units. It's going to be buffing infantry, cavalry, and as well as your archers in the battlefield. She's a good gatherer, but the gathering part doesn't really work for canyons, right? It's the ability of this divine revelation that works really well. Also, she can heal and makes it a little bit better. So what people do before, they would use Joan of Arc when paired up with an infantry. Legendary ones like maybe Richard. You can do Richard, Joan of Arc, Martel, Joan of Arc. You can do Constantine, Joan of Arc. Those are some of the combos that players do when they were using Joan of Arc back in the day. But reality here, Joan of Arc can be really used with any type of combo. So in the early stages of the game, as you work on the Joan of Arc, because you need a gatherer, you can use her, and you don't have to worry about the talent tree because she is a secondary commander. So you can use Joan of Arc to perform into your canyons. All right, she has that great ability, and she also provide more damage bonus as well if you are using Joan of Arc into that march. So Joan of Arc is great. I would still say pair it up with a legendary, but if you're thinking about pairing it up with an epic, I would say you can pair it up with any epics in here. Doesn't really matter. You're going to be providing that buff. I would say put it on the infantry just so you can last longer and you can provide buff longer. Now, the second commander that I would say that is really good in the canyons in here is using Sun Tzu. Now, Sun Tzu is in our top 5 best epic commander in Rise of Kingdoms. I think many will agree, and many will have Sun Tzu in their list because Sun Tzu has a really good ability in here. Can work with also with any types of commanders as well. Ability to do AoE damage. And when you're going for canyons, you want to do an AoE. You want to hit everyone in there. I mean, everyone's really, really close. So Sun Tzu with the AoE, infantry buff, and also damage reduction, also further increasing skill damage bonus, works pretty well. You can use it with like honestly, you can put Sun Tzu with anybody. You can put it with Martel. You can put it with Richard if you like. You can put it with YSG also. You can do a YSG Sun Tzu in the early stages of the game. But if you're looking for like epic, you can do Ilji, you can do Bjorn, you can do these things, right? So there's a lot of combinations that you can do with Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is a very versatile commander here in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, the third commander that I should say is Baybars. Baybars, provides great amount of damage in here. 1,000 damage factor in an AoE fashion. Great in the canyons. All right. Now, how could you do with Bay Bars, with the pairings you got. So if, let's say you were a spender, you don't have another hero, let's say you get Minamoto, you can use Minamoto in Bay Bars. Imagine the amount of damage that you're going to be able to do. 1,000 damage factor under the skill here. You're also going to get attack bonus, which is good, 20% attack bonus. You can eliminate your opponent early, faster, and quicker with using Bay Bars. Huge amount of damage that you get from this hero. Huge amount of buff for an epic. So Bay Bars is definitely on our top 5 list of epic commanders to use in the canyons. Now the question here is, will Bay Bars be useful until the late game? Now my thing is that I think Bay Bars will, depreciate its value long term, because if you're able to get Tao Tao, which you can get it from the gold key, then you can replace Bay Bars with Tao Tao in the canyons, because there's also much better, cavalry commanders. A lot of really, really good cavalry commanders out there. The thing here is that supporting heroes like Joan of Arc plays a major role and can be really used in the long term in the canyons in the game. Now let's talk about the 4th epic commander here. I want to go for archers. I should say Kosunoki is a good one, and also Herman. Now these two are really great because Herman has the ability to silence the opponent. I mean, in the canyons, the battle is really short. You want to be able to silence. You want to be able to reduce the rage, prevent them from casting further. Imagine if you can reduce the rage of Sun Tzu. I mean, Sun Tzu does generate rage also, but if you can reduce it, you can silence it, that high skill damage, preventing it. With using Herman into the battlefield plays a major role. Now, archers are a little bit weaker when it comes to the canyons, but the skills of the commanders in your plays a significant role. You're also going to be able to get some more archer attack bonus as well. A little bit of a crit ability here. And like I said, you're going to be getting that rage reduction and as well as silencing the opponent. Now, if you do a Kosunoki, then you can do like a, AoE damage, removing any debuff. If you ever get debuff, a good amount of skill damage as well, high buff damage in here as well, and defense increase with Kosunoki. And then you also get additional damage factor, that crit ability from Kosunoki. I would just say maybe it's a bleed ability. Would be better. Now, 5th commander here for epic, I kind of want to go into a leadership perspective, because in the early stage of the game, most of you will not have a lot of units yet. You're not going to have all the full infantry. You're not going to have full cavs, full archers. Don't be afraid to use some of the leadership commanders here. So Osman is really good. I think Osman is so much better than Scipio. So go for Osman. You get that high skill damage in your 1100 damage factor. You're going to get some more damage factor here also from Osman. I think Osman is one of the greatest epic in the leadership perspective. Get more troop capacity, right? You can do mixed troops in this one. So you can do like Osman, Joan of Arc. That should work out well as well, right? Let me know what type of combos you guys are using. But in the early stages, this is a decent commander. This is a decent epic commander to use. Osman the Great, right? So use Osman in the early stage, mixed troop, just dump it in. You can work with any type of units. So Osman is simple, use it, great skill damage in here. Let's talk about some notable epic commanders in here today as well. I want to mention Bjorn Ironside, great skill damage. You can pair this up with Sun Tzu or Yulji. Good one in here. Yulji, we want to mention about Yulji as well. I used Yulji back in the day. Yulji is great. Have that, damage factor, also defense reduction, making the opponents weaker, so you're going to be able to hit hard. Also, you gain increased infantry buff in here. You can see increased attack and as well as defense. You get some damage bonus as well with a kind of a crit ability in here as well, 10% chance. So, I mean, looking into that Bjorn, Yulji, kind of just want to highlight that Pelagius, if you're running out of another cavalry commander in here for the epic, you can also use that. We also had the new one, Imhotep, in here. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Imhotep, but you can definitely use Imhotep in here as well. Good defense, supporting for archers in here, but I would say go for the infantry better into the battlefield when it comes to the canyon types of battle, rather than going for the archers. I would say go for infantry, cabs, and maybe last for archers here. Besides that, if you guys have any suggestion here for us, Let me know what your combinations are in your top 5 epic commanders in Rise of Kingdoms. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this. Subscribe and like. I'll see you again next time.